Right, let's see if this works. Wait, I'm in. what are you gonna get? Right, how do I check if this is working? I need to see. Why can't I see what's going on? Well, I mean, you can see my screen, which is the main thing. I can't see at the minute YouTube or where's the YouTube gone? I need to have a look at my stream at the same time to see if it's actually working. Sorry, give me 1 second. There we go. Okay, I might have to just... I can't see at the minute. Mute this here. YouTube or... And keep an eye on... Yes, okay, right, because I can see the chat through here. Bot or Hulk versus Mag? Now, oh my god, let me get up the FP3 results. Genuinely, I'm going to have to think about this one. Because I came into this practice thinking... I'm not even going to touch Haas. But they've looked fantastic in FP3 and in FP2. So I am wondering whether to switch over. Now, for me, it really... I'll show you a few teams as to what you could do. And it will give you a few instances as to how, why you would use Bottas, Hulkenberg or Magnussen. Right, so I don't know why I'm on here. Sorry, that's my bad. Okay, so... For instance, with the team I will be running, I think I've decided to stick with Ferrari because they did show something at the end of FP3, and also I think it's just the slightly less risky option. But if you wanted someone like Lance Stroll for a team like this, which will come into play Bottas, Hulkenberg or Magnussen, you can't afford Bottas and Stroll, so you would have to go down to Magnussen, and that would free up Lance Stroll for a team that looks something like this. Now, hang on, sorry, I need to get that back up. Oh yeah, there we go. I'm just going to keep that there so I can see the chat. Yeah, so that's... If your team looks like this is why I'd bring in Magnussen. However, if we even just have a look at the FP3 results right now, it still says it's live. Hulkenberg would be the Haas to bring in. So then it's also, what do you think of the Visa Cash App cars? I generally think they're going to be close to where Stroll is. And then if you agree with me in the same sort of way, I would then have your team structured something like this. Right. Yeah, so Ricciardo, and then you could have Hulkenberg. Now... We can only really go off what we can see realistically, and we know Haas have never had good race pace, which is the issue coming into F1 Fantasy, because you've got to also forget that we're not talking about actual F1 points. So we know the Haas, the Saubers, and even the Williams aren't gonna realistically get into the top 10 in qualifying, and you only get points for F1 Fantasy from going into the top 10 for qualifying. So I would actually still say Bottas is the best option, because if Haas overperform in qualifying, they're going to lose positions and potentially get into the minuses, because they would best come like 12th, 13th. And then it's actually worse for you, because then if they finish 18th, you could get into the minuses. So I would probably stick with Bottas for now, purely because I can also show here on the debriefs, Sauber's race pace looked decent. And if it really is true that Haas are that far behind on race pace, I would stick with boss. So let me, just in case you want that in the chat, I will type that in for you right now. I would okay. So let's actually talk about the teams. For me, I was pondering whether to go to Mercedes. I actually, at one point, thought about... let me find where Hamilton is. At one point, I was even thinking getting rid of Perez and bringing in Mercedes, because then you could also bring in the boy I was talking about, Lance Stroll. However, FP3, Perez looked decent. They've had an issue with their upshift, I believe. Okay. Also, is Verstappen with Ferrari and Mercedes better than Perez if Ferrari and Mercedes driver can take the second position? Sorry, wait. I don't fully understand that question. Let me read it again. If Verstappen... Also, is a Verstappen with Ferrari and Mercedes better... Oh, yeah, I do understand. Than a Perez team if Ferrari and Mercedes driver can take the second position away from Perez. Oh, I'm going to say no, purely because even in qualifying, if Perez comes 4th or 5th, Red Bull look like they have the best race pace. Okay, let me see. Verstappen, Ricciardo, Red Bull. Sorry, Morris, I'll get to you in a second. Verstappen, Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Albon, Bottas, Ferrari, Merc team. Yeah, so that's not a bad team, whatever. By no means. However, it's just the fact that even if Perez doesn't come second in qualifying, I really do think he will get second in the race. And even if he doesn't, we know Verstappen, if nothing bad happens, is going to probably get the pole and then the race. And as a constructor, he'll probably most likely get the driver of the day as well. And then I think you'll probably have a 20-30 point drop from Red Bull to Mercedes. And I don't think Verstappen down to Perez is a 30 point drop, even if you had the 2 times on them. So I would still say that that the Perez team would be better than having Verstappen with Ferrari and Mercedes. Hang on. Morris, Red Bull, Aston Martin, and Max. Okay, let me figure out a team you could do. So, for instance, with Aston Martin, Verstappen. Yeah, you could get a decent team with this. Now, I wouldn't... preferably... Now, I'll get onto that. The problem with Aston Martin is they've looked pretty decent in practice. Again, though, I'll show the debrief from practice, and it's just, again, because of how F1 Fantasy works, I would highly recommend going for the cars that look like they have the better race pace, because if Aston Martin do really well in qualifying but drop down in the race, it's only going to hurt you in fantasy. And so that's why I wouldn't pick someone like Aston Martin for now. I still wouldn't pick V-Carbs. I would go for Ferrari or Mercedes with Red Bull as a team. And that's why, Morris, I'll get on to the problem with Verstappen is if you have a team such as this, let's say you go for Verstappen, Hülkenberg, Tsunoda, Albon, Bottas, Red Bull, Aston Martin. It's a decent team, right? However, if Ferrari get both of their drivers in the top 5 and Red Bull do the same, then you're going to have an issue with that, because Aston Martin won't be ahead of the Mercedes, potentially behind the McLarens. And where does that leave them? Around the 8th to 12th position. And then as a constructor, you're only gaining about 30 to 40 points from that, losing around 20 to 30 points, again, which it depends again how badly Perez does. But I think it's just too much of a risk to go for a lower constructor than going for Verstappen. So that's why I don't think Verstappen is the best option at the minute. It's the same if you were going for V-carbs, because obviously you could bring in a team such as this, which by no means is a bad team. However, the problem is, again, the constructor. V-carb aren't going to get you more than 30 points as a constructor this race weekend. If you're lucky, more than 25, and Ferrari or Mercedes will get you around 40 to 50, and it's just too risky to think that Verstappen, Lance Stroll. Yes, so I actually didn't think Stroll was a good choice. I've seen Aston Martin. I think they're around the V-carb range. So either Ricciardo or Stroll, I think they're very similar choices at the minute. So I would go for one or the other. However, I don't think it matters too much. Now, let me show you a few other teams you could go for. Right, so did I show the team I was going for? Yes, of course. I can show a team for Merc and Ferrari Constructors. So, I personally don't think this is the best team to go for. However, if you disagree, yeah, I do agree. Merc's been a bit flip-flop. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with them. And will they be in the fight? Potentially in qualifying, but like I keep on saying in this live... I just got a lot. Sorry about this. Yes, right. So I'll start off with you at first. Okay, so Mercedes, Ferrari. By no means a bad option, because I'm guessing... now, hear me out. I actually wouldn't bring in Verstappen if you were going for a team like this, because let me show you the Verstappen team you could make with the price you've got. You could only bring in Verstappen, and then you could either bring in Stroll or Ricciardo, depending on who you trust more. I preferably trust Ricciardo more. Then you have Yuki Tsunoda, again, V-carb, just because they're cheap and they look like they'll be at the lower end of the top 10, 11th, 12th. And then with the 13.6 you have left, you can bring in Albon, another great shout. And I would preferably not go for a Haas. I've said it. Okay. I'll quickly go back after this. George, I will say, I promise you, last season, even when Verstappen had an amazing race, he would only go up 0.1, 0.2 mil. So it will be interesting to see if he does go up in price. However, if he does, it will only be 0.1 or 0.2. But yeah, this, and then you could go for Zhou or Bottas. I've always favoured Bottas over Zhou. So this would be the team if you want to go for Merc and Ferrari as constructors with Verstappen. However, there is another team you could go for on this scenario, and it is Perez and... Oh, actually, no, it's a bit rubbish. Never mind. Never mind what I said. You can't make another team with that. I got the maths wrong. So, yeah, I'll quickly get up that team again. This would be the team you would go for if you want Mercedes and Ferrari as constructors. Now, let me show you again. I'm going for Red Bull, Ferrari, Perez, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Albon, Bottas. I'm not sure about Perez. Yeah, I'm the same with Perez. I'm not too sure about him. However, I've just got to trust that the Red Bull's that dominant. And you've got to remember, it's the good thing about, obviously, this being the first race is... Marco, I do think that is a very good team, though. That is most likely the team I will be having. because I just don't trust Merc enough for now. Again, not going to lie, you need Max Verstappen. The problem is with Verstappen, like I keep saying, if you have Verstappen, I can't state this enough, where if you wanted a team like this, you would have to bring in VCARB. And I think people are overhyping VCARB so much. VCARB won't get you more than 25, 30 points as a constructor, whereas Ferrari or Mercedes will get you at minimum 40 points. Definitely more than that, most likely around 50 to 60. And that's about a 15 point to a 15 point from 25. A 15 point to 35 point drop down to Red Bull. And even with Verstappen on the 2 times, so if let's say Verstappen gets the max 50 times to 100, are we really saying Perez is going to get less than 35 points, which is then 30 points, which is similar to the VCARB, and that's the worst case scenario. And I think if that is the worst case scenario, why would we risk it? Not going for the better constructor, if you can understand what I'm saying. By all means, though, this still is a good team, and I've also got to bring in some external factors, purely because obviously someone could have a crash. What was your global place last year? I was top 7.5k last year for 2023. Funnily enough, last year, it went pretty well. I had a few off races, but then I brought it back very nicely with my transfers, because I will say price values are very important, because I know I'm talking about not having Verstappen in my team right now. You want to get your team to the position where, I'll show you my team again. You want to be in the position where if you had a team such as mine with this, if you then dropped Albon to, let's say, a Sargent, and you dropped Ricciardo to a Magnussen, you're only a few mil off getting Verstappen. Now, sorry, my bad. And then drop Yuki to Albon. Now, this team wouldn't be the best, but you're only 2.3 mil off getting Verstappen, and that is very sorry for your pronunciation, Vivan. I would not go for any of the Alpines. So definitely, if you want Albon, Gasly, or Ocon, go for Alex Albon. But yeah, so you're quite close to Verstappen, and the game plan is to get enough money so that we can all afford Verstappen and the top 2 constructors. Now, hopefully, for F1 fantasy wise, I'm kind of hoping Aston Martin have the biggest improvements, because then we all hop on them, and then we have enough money to bring in someone. Yeah, I do agree. Yeah, I'm not saying Gasly's a bad driver. Ocon I rate as well, but that Albi looks so bad. I have missed out a few comments though. If I take Bottas over Hulkenberg, what's the disadvantage? Okay, so the disadvantage would be qualifying. However, in F1 Fantasy, qualifying doesn't matter too much for the lower end teams, and realistically, you would actually be better getting a driver who has worse qualifying. So the Sauber looks. I'll get onto Aston in a second. So you want to have a driver who has better race pace, because Haas, if they qualify like 11th or 12th, it looks fantastic, but you're not going to get that many points in qualifying for getting 11th or 12th. But you do lose points for getting overtaken, and the Haas doesn't have good race pace from what we've seen. I'll show you their race pace again. So the Haas could do really well in qualifying here, but then they could drop all the way down to the bottom, and then you could be with the minuses. So that's why I'd go with the Bottas over Hulkenberg. And then what's the problem with Aston Martin? Aston Martin are just too expensive. Basically, Alonso is a shout if you can fit him in your team. I haven't really seen any amazing teams with him yet. Max, Ricciardo, Alex, Zhou, Logan, Red Bull. The one problem with that team would be Logan Sargent. I'm very worried about Logan considering qualifying pace of the Williams plus the race pace isn't the best. I can't see him getting that much out of the car. But yeah, the problem with Aston is they have very similar pace to the V-Carb on testing. And with drivers, I highly rate Ricciardo and Tsunoda. So I don't think there's enough of a jump to go from 6 million to so V-Carb at 8.5 million. Aston Martin's like 13, 15. Let me see. Yeah, Aston Martin are 13.6, and I don't think there's enough of a 5 mil jump to that, considering you could easily, let's go again to Aston, if you drop to V-Carb, you could then bring in Verstappen. Verstappen, you could keep your team exactly how it is. However, you could bring in Tsunoda instead of Logan, which is just a massive upgrade. So that's why I think if you are going for an Aston team, it'd be better to drop down to V-Carb instead. I'll reset that for anyone who's just come in. This is the team I will be going for. Okay, Krish is going for better drivers, a priority. Definitely Constructors. The problem this year is if you go for Constructors, you don't have Verstappen, and that's the whole dilemma, because there's a lot of people who agree that Verstappen is better than having a Constructor, and there's also, it's a very 50-50 split, and also people who think Constructors are better than having the driver. I'm in the Constructor group because I think dropping down from Verstappen to Perez is better than dropping down from Ferrari to V-Carb or Ferrari to Aston Martin. And yeah, basically, I don't know how to show you points. I don't know how to show you points, but basically last season, Red Bull would get like 80 to 100 points in some races with their Constructor. And the most Verstappen got, I think, potentially is around 50. So even with, so there's quite a big jump. And I know you put the 2 times on, and that's where the dilemma comes in because, and that's where the dilemma comes in. My drivers are Hamilton, Leclerc, and Max. Red Bull and Williams. Ooh, just be careful with that Williams. I would really say if you could, if you really want to go for better drivers than Constructors, V-Carb it. Because what is the difference in price? So you only need to find 2.2 million. So you could easily drop Leclerc or Hamilton down to Sainz and Russell. It's a bit annoying, but it would be much better having V-Carb than Williams. Because Williams is not a very good Constructor to have. What about Sainz over Perez? I think if you were going for anyone over Sainz, it'd be Leclerc. I have much more faith in Leclerc. As you can see, Ferrari would be the ones because they might not beat Mercedes in qualifying. However, they've got much better race pace. And like I keep saying, you've got to get on the boys with good race pace. For anyone who didn't see as well, I'll quickly show you the FP3. Also, I understand why you've gone for Sainz because he did top it. What the hell? Yes, here we go. So in FP3, Ferrari did look fast again, which is why I'm guessing you would look for Sainz. But just be cautious. And that's also why people are asking about Haas. And then in practice too, Mercedes obviously were very good, and that's why everyone was getting a bit excited about them. Even I was as well, and even Aston Martin. But again, just be careful. Right, where was I? Ferrari and Aston. Again, let's make a team with Ferrari and Aston then. Oh, my bad. Right, Ferrari and Aston. That clears up a lot of money. And I'm guessing if you are going for lower Constructors, you basically got to get Verstappen in your team. I've got to make sure I stay on top of this. Thank you. I've got to say thank you all for joining as well. I did not expect this many comments, so thank you very much. I'm actually a little bit overwhelmed. I did not expect it to have this many comments. I've lost my train of thought. where was I? Yes, Ferrari or Aston. So if you had a Ferrari or Aston team, you'd need 0.1 million. Okay. If you could get an Alonso into this sort of team, let's have a look. So if you drop down to Kevin K-Mag there, I think if you were going for Aston and Ferrari, this would be the best team to go for. Having Alonso, you've got to really hope. You've got to really hope that Aston Martin do well with this team. I wouldn't recommend going for Aston purely because if you dropped Aston to VCARB, you could then put Alonso up to Perez, and that's a much better team. A team selection. However, I still wouldn't go for Ferrari and Red Bull. You need VCARB, sorry. You need Red Bull as one of your constructors, guaranteed, because they will be getting at least 1-2, 1-3, 1-4, depending on wherever Perez finishes. I mean, to be fair, I'm talking about this. Perez is just gonna crash out first corner, isn't he? I'm gonna look like a right mug coming into the next week's F1 fantasy. Right. Hey, mate, what about Sainz, Russell, Stroll? Okay, Mac. Yeah. So that was the team I was talking about. I think I mentioned it earlier. If you were to go for Ferrari Merc, having Sainz and Russell. Actually, no. I would drop Stroll to Ricciardo, and then upgrade both Sainz and Russell to Leclerc and Hamilton. And if you don't have enough money for that, then drop Ricciardo down to Tsunoda, because I think there is a big jump between. You want the top boys in the team, and Leclerc and Hamilton are the most consistent in the Ferrari and the Merc. Well, I mean, just getting off Ferrari anyway is quite a big risk. I thought about this, but I don't feel comfortable with Perez with the DRS on him, thinking about changing. Yeah, of course. Leclerc isn't a bad option as well if you want to 2 times him. Because I genuinely do think... I do think Leclerc would be the second best option, then Hamilton. So I would still put Perez as the best option to 2 times if you're not having Verstappen. Then Leclerc, then Hamilton. My team: Verstappen, Albon, Yuki, Gasly, Stroll, Red Bull, RB. Yeah, that's that. Actually, I would recommend not having Gasly and changing him to. I don't know how much money you have left over, but either a Ricciardo or even one of the Saubers. Yeah, because the Alpines look quite expensive. Hang on, I can help you out here. Let me make a team. Let me make your team selection. And then, right, so Verstappen, Albon, Yuki, Gasly, Stroll. So yeah, so I would get rid of Stroll and Gasly, which leaves you with 18 mil, and then you could Ricciardo it. Oh, actually, you would have a lot of money left over, actually. So let's have a look at the Alpine's pace again. You know what? Okay, that's actually I spoke too soon. Having that team's okay. Yeah, it's not my favorite team I've seen, but it's not a bad team. Alpine could be okay, and considering, yeah, they look about 8th fastest car. I mean, where were they in FP3? FP2. FP2 they were sort of nowhere, and FP3, yeah, again sort of nowhere. It's a bit of a risk bringing in Alpine, but it's not the worst. But Sainz is better than in the race than Leclerc. Yeah, okay. I don't have any quarrel with going for Sainz or Leclerc. Just my preference will always be Leclerc, because the difference is if he does, I'd say qualifying is not important, right? But if Leclerc qualifies 2nd and Sainz qualifies 5th or 6th, Leclerc will probably beat him in the race. Hey, mate, love your content. Thank you very much, Dennis. Appreciate the support. I've lost your... What about Sainz, Russell, Stroll, K-Mag, Bottas. Yeah, so I've spoken about this team before. Again, I'll show you what I would do if I had a team similar to that. Right, so I would personally go to Hamilton, Leclerc, get rid of Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari, and then I would drop Stroll to Ricciardo. How much money does that leave us? Yeah, and then I'd bring in Albon and then keep K-Mag. That's what I would do with that team, just to change it around for a little bit. Yeah, I agree. Bottas, I think he would be better than... I don't know who you're comparing him to. I'm guessing it's to Zhou. Yeah, I would always pick Bottas over Zhou. He's cheaper as well and more experienced. Yeah, and I know it's hard. I honestly don't trust Perez as well. I half expect him to crash into the wall or get crashed into by Russell or someone. Just boom, first corner. But I don't know. I just know Perez does decent at the start of the season. And I'm going to risk it. I'm going to risk it for the chocolate biscuit. Would you recommend Norris and Oscar or McLaren? No. Definitely not. Steer very clear of them, because Piastri 19 million, Hamilton and Leclerc, and even Russell and Sainz are all better options, cheaper, or only 0.3 or 0.1 million. Same with Norris, 23 million. It's extortionate considering they're looking like the fourth fastest car. I wish McLaren were doing better, because I am a McLaren fan. However, from the looks of things, they're not going to be doing that well, so I would steer clear of them for now. Yeah, I agree. McLaren does not seem stable at all, Morris. I feel like McLaren are overpriced when you can take Ferrari. Yeah, completely agree. Even against Mercedes, they look very overpriced. Because, I mean, you go to the Constructor, and how is McLaren 3.1 million, even more than Mercedes? How is McLaren almost 4 million over Ferrari? I don't know what they were smoking when they made up those prices, but it definitely should not look like that at the start of the season. McLaren, if you go anywhere near McLaren, your price, their value will drop and you will lose team value. Where is the practice debrief from? It's on the official F1 website. So how did I get to it? I will show you how to get to it. Practice debrief, news. Yeah, so you go on to Bahrain 2024 news, and then it was, I believe it was here. Yeah, here we go. Here it is. And then it's here. And then you get all of the nice little stats that they've given out for us, and a few quotes and some good stuff from there. Hello, so what is your optimal team right now? So my optimal team would be the team that I'm going for right here. This is my favourite team at the minute. I can go step by step. I'll start with Bottas. Bottas over Haas's, because Bottas won't perform well in qualifying over Haas, but he'll most likely get the overtake bonuses on the Haas's. And with a driver like Bottas, you just want them to get a few points. Albon, I didn't have any money for anyone else, but he should be better than the Haas's, and I don't trust the Alpines. Sonoda and Ricciardo, they're cheaper than the Astons, and they look on a similar level to the Aston Martin at the minute. And then Sergio Perez, just because you can't afford Verstappen with this team. But Perez, as we know, I know, Morris, I know. You're not going to change my mind on this. I feel like I'm not going to change your mind on this, and then you're not going to change my mind on this. And one of us is going to be so smug going into the second week. I tell you what. I have a feeling it might be you, but I've got to go for it. But yes, and then Red Bull and Ferrari. Purely because I was tinkering on the option of Mercedes, but Red Bull, you need Red Bull. They're going to be... Verstappen's going to win it, get pole, and Sergio Perez is going to be around the top 5 somewhere. And then Ferrari, again, they look like the second fastest. And then, that's my optimal team. Can you make a team with Ferrari, Merc, and Verstappen? I will get back to that, because I've made multiple earlier in the stream. Yeah, Perez. Right. Do you have a league? Yes, it's Zach F1. I can actually show you the league right now. So here is the league. There's 122 people in it. Thank you all so much for joining. This is the code. I'll put it on for like 5 seconds so you can have a look at it. Thank you for asking. How can you get Verstappen later? So prices, the team prices and the driver prices change throughout F1. And depending on how well they do, you could get a 0.1 mil, 0.2 mil, 0.3 mil, 0.5 mil, even a mil, 1.5 mil price increase. So the game plan for me, with my team at least, is hoping that Ricciardo and Tsunoda have a good weekend, 0.3 mil respectively. Ferrari have a good weekend, 0.3, that's 0.09. Perez having a good weekend, he'll go up a few, 0.3, 0.2, 0.1. And then you do that, hopefully again. I'll talk about next week's one because I don't know where the cars will be stacking up, and I might have changed my opinion on it a little bit now. But yeah, that's how you will eventually get up to Verstappen. It will take a few races, but if you can have Verstappen, Red Bull, and Ferrari or Mercedes in your team, you're cooking. You don't have to. You will have the best team through and throughout for the rest of the season. No problem. Stroll, Mag versus Rick plus bot in your team. Harris. Sorry, I don't fully understand what you're trying to say. Are you asking if I should have Stroll, if you should have Stroll or Magnussen? I wouldn't have Stroll or Magnussen. Well, Stroll's okay, but I think there's not enough of a 1.7 million increase from Ricciardo to Stroll. Besides the practice DBs, Aston Martin looks so much better than Red Bull, especially in practice. I still think Red Bull, Aston, and then Yuki Loden. Yeah, that's fine. Honestly, yeah. If you think anything different, go for it. Honestly, I'm honestly wishing you the best of luck with it. That's just where I would disagree. I just don't think Aston will be up there. Because I really do think McLaren have been sandbagging a bit. And in FP3, where Aston Martin looked decent, Mercedes also weren't where they were in FP2. So that's why I was a little bit nervous with them. What about Max, Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Albon, Bottas, Merc, Ferrari? I think I made that team. Yeah, that team's decent. Fully agree. If you go for a team similar to that, the only issue is you're losing about potentially 20 to 40 points, dropping from Red Bull to Mercedes, depending on how well Verstappen and Perez do. But it's by all means not a bad team to use. Johnny Ollie, thank you, Tommy. Thank you very much. What about Sainz, Alonso, Bottas, K-Mag, and Sarge with Red Bull and Ferrari? Sainz, Alonso. Yeah, so actually that was one team. I'll get it up here so people who have just come in can see this team. This is actually a team I was looking at before. Right, let me get it up. Sainz, Albon. The only person I would change is I'd get rid of Gasly, just because I have no faith in the Alpines. But it's not that big of a deal. Oh, whoops. Tsunoda, Albon. Oh, hang on. Oh, yeah, that's why. Wait, hang on. Max. Wait, hang on. Where did I read that? Sorry, hang on. I've lost the comment. Yeah, that's why. It was the Max, Sainz, Albon, Gasly, Merc, and Red Bull. There we go. Wait, Merc and Red Bull. I don't think you can make that team. Let me try it. I'm pretty sure you can't make that team. You don't have enough funds for it, if I'm reading that correctly. So Max, Sainz. Yeah, you can't have Max and Sainz and Red Bull and Mercedes in the same team. For the minute at least. The values don't add up. Mate, honestly, Morris, I've even said in my predictions video, I think Perez is gonna get sacked. But I've got to stick with what my gut is telling me, and my gut is telling me, like always, Perez will perform well in the first 2 or 3 races and then fall off a cliff. It's a really hard a team without Max. Yes, it's so annoying this season that do you value Max or a constructor? And like I've said, it's very much a 50-50. And I will say, for anyone who is a little bit worried about it, I guarantee there will be scoring similar points. So at the end of the day, no matter which team you choose, if one does worse or one does better, you'll gain the experience and we can change the teams up for Saudi Arabia. Or you do a little bit better than the other team. And because trust, it will be about a 10-20 point gap, I think, between those two teams. Help, need 2 drivers in 14.6 million. Okay, so let's say you've got 14.6 million. I'm going to have to get out the maths here. Okay, I would, for 14.6 million, you could either, if I don't know what, wait, hang on. Roku could, oh wow, there's a lot of comments. Roku, could you send me the full team of what it is? Because I would recommend drivers, but I don't know if you've got people like, I would bring in Ricardo and Sargent if you've only got 14.6 mil left, but I don't know if you've already got them. Where are you checking race pace data? It's all on the practice debrief on the F1 website. I'll show again how to get onto it. So you go onto Bahrain 2024, you go onto the news, and then practice debrief down here. And then it shows you the qualifying sims of all of the teams, the tyre degradation, that's another big one, and race simulation pace. And then you've also got ideal lap times, gap to ideal lap time. So it's pretty alright, yeah. Okay, without Max is risky. I don't know, man. You're playing. Yeah, honestly, I know. But like I said about 5 minutes ago, I promise you. Let's take for instance, you go for Max with VCarb. Let's say Max gets. Let's be reasonable. Let's say Max gets 40 points times 2. He gets 80 points. VCarb gets you 25 points. That's 105 points. If you then did Perez, let's say he got 35 points. No, let's even say he got, 35 points times 2, 70, plus Ferrari, 40 points, let's say around that. That's 110 points. So combined, it sounds like a massive decision, but it's going to be close. It's going to be close calls. So it doesn't matter too much which one you go for now, I think. However, am I going a bit? I still think that the one that will be a little bit better is the Perez Ferrari team. I mean, this is where I say it. And then Mercedes just ruined my day anyway. And then if Mercedes do better than Ferrari, then Verstappen with VCarb probably was the better option. Oh, thank you for the like. I don't know how to see that. Wait, it feels like I really need Max in my team, or is it just me? It feels weird to not put him there. Yeah, no, it's not just you. I fully agree. It feels so awkward. I had Max the whole way throughout last season, and it was just 2 times on him every single weekend. So to go into this without Max, shiver down my spine, man. It does send a shiver. By the way, haven't missed the show since I started F1 Fantasy last year. Thank you for your content. Thank you, man. Really appreciate that, Tommy. I really hope you do well in the league. Thank you for your support, and yeah, I'll try to keep up with the consistency, because I'm really enjoying the channel at the minute. And yeah, and I think whenever I'm enjoying it is when I put out the best content for you guys. But thank you so much for that. Red Bull. Jesus, therethere's a lot of comments. Sorry. Red Bull is not Red Bull. Yeah, I know. If I said that accidentally, sorry. What about Sainz, Alonso, Bottas, Koenig? Have I already done this? No, I didn't, but I'll show you that team, yeah. So I actually had a look at this team earlier, because I was having a look into this team. I've lost it. Where did it go? Oh, for Pete's sake. Where did it go? I'm so sorry. I've lost the comment. I'll move on to the next one. Wherever the next one is. What about Perez, Max, Albon? If you can fit Perez and Max in the same team, I don't think you can though. Let me show you. So VCarb. Yeah, I can already see you can't. You won't be able to. You won't have enough money to do Verstappen and Perez with VCarb, sadly, because that would be a very good team. Oh, I'm being an idiot. My bad. I just assumed that you put thingy. I've just assumed that you put Red Bull there. No, I still wouldn't agree with that though. You need Red Bull as a constructor. You'd lose too many points not having Red Bull as a constructor. Theoretically, in order to do a Verstappen Red Bull Ferrari build, one lacks 1.7 million. Yes. The question is, how hard will it be to make the money? Right. Yes. Thank you very much for that question, because I like speaking about this stuff. So, theoretically, if you had my team, let me reset it to show my team. We're banking on Perez to come second place. That's all he needs to do. Second place, get around 30 to 40 points, and he will go up 0.2 mil or 0.3 mil. Only 1.4 million to go. Ricciardo and Tsunoda, again, if they get into the top 10, 0.5 mil each. Guaranteed. That's a mil there. Oh, my bad. That's 1.3 million there. Albon, stay the same price, I think. Bottas stay the same price. Again, here's where the rest of the money's coming from. If Ferrari do well, they will probably gain half a mil as well. And then you've got 1.8 mil going into Saudi Arabia. Now, that has been very optimistic. However, you can see that the small little changes in transfer really do add up after a while. And that's what I'm planning to do. And it's the same thing. If you already had Verstappen in your team, that's the issue, by the way, guys. Because Verstappen's price also won't move up as much as other drivers will. So if you had Maxi Taxi in your team and you had a similar team like this, you've then got to hope Visa Cash App do the same. And then if Visa Cash App do the same, potentially even get up like 1 million for getting both top 10. Ricardo, 0.5 mil, Tsunoda 0.5 mil, even 0.3 mil from both of them. Red Bull probably about 0.1 mil, 0.2 mil, because they won't go up too much because they're put there at the minute at the right price. Very easily, before Saudi Arabia, you could theoretically get in. You could get in a Sainz. No, not a Sainz. My bad. You could push for an Alonso. It'd be difficult. No, you could get an Alonso. Sorry, my bad. I'm not thinking straight. You could. It'd be difficult to bring in Perez. But very easily, again, with this sort of team, you could easily get to it within, I'd say, 6 or 7 races, which isn't a bad shout. However, with the other team, if you can get to Verstappen quicker, it'd be much better. Right. Currently running Max Leclerc. Oh, I see what you mean. I said, I thought you were saying RB, Red Bull as a constructor when you said RB in the chat. My bad. Currently running Max Leclerc, Albon, Ricciardo, Bottas, Ferrari, Red Bull. Do you think that's safe with a constructor, or is Red Bull a must? Max Leclerc. Oh. Let's think about this. Let's make this team. Let's make this team. Because I will show you theoretically. So I've put my theory at RB getting 25 points. So if you had Verstappen, you'd have Verstappen in both of. Oh, where have I run it? You could have Verstappen there, and then who else did you say? Max Leclerc. Yes, right. You could also bring in Perez to that team, by the way. For anyone who jumps on the Perez bandwagon. But yeah, I think the problem with this team is Charles Leclerc up from Ricciardo, which is the driver change basically, or Stroll. You're probably looking at about a 20-point difference. However, Red Bull down to RB, you're looking at around potentially a 60-ish point drop in points. So I think it's just, I don't think it works out, the maths. Hey Michael, nice to see you here. Oh my god, there's so many messages. Where was I? Right. Yeah, you should be able to get Max later quite easily. Within, I would say, if we're unlucky and we don't have him within 5 races, very unlucky. I do have to say though, be careful though, because when we do get Verstappen, it does mean we have to drop people like, let me get back to my old team. If you do go for Verstappen, you do have to drop Ricciardo, Tsunoda and Albon all down to a lower costing drivers. Then Max, Lance, Ricky, Albon, Red Bull. Yeah, Morris, good. It's a good team, I'm telling you. A very good team. Ferrari, Merc, Verstappen, 2 spots. Oh, right, yes, Roku, yes, I'll get to you. Ferrari, Merc, Verstappen, Albon, Ricciardo. Okay, let's make that team and let's help you out. Why does it keep on moving? There we go. I found you again. Ferrari, Merc. Yeah, this live's gone on for much longer than I thought. The comments have been crazy. Thank you all so much for the support. Because my original idea was I was going to do the live and then put it onto my channel for anyone who wants to see it earlier. But there's been so many comments asking for you, you guys asking me for help. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yes, I got sidetracked there. Sorry, my bad. Verstappen, Albon, Ricciardo. Well, actually, there you go. That's actually the team I'd do. If Tsunoda and Bottas is who I'd go for. Bottas, like I've already said, because the race pace will come in better than the Haas drivers. And Tsunoda, he'll do better than the Alpine drivers. Okay. As long as you... Yeah, I've already messaged that. Can you send the link? Oh, yes. Actually, that's a really good idea. Thank you, Chris. Oh, how am I going to do this? Right, yes. I might have to put my mic down. I need to get a mic stand. The mic stand I bought didn't work properly. Because I broke my other mic a few months ago. Oh, damn. Thank you all. 4 extra people joined my league. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I'll put the link in the chat. It should transfer over. Yes. So there's the link for anyone who wants to join my league. There's the code as well. Right, let's... oh, yeah, actually, anyone in the chat who thinks they've got any good ideas, like Morris, you've been quite vocal. I like that. Help everyone out, guys, because I'm trying to get to all of the messages, but there's quite a few. So if this is the lost comment, how do I like that? Oh, I can't. I watched another YouTube video saying that Max averages 2 times more points than all drivers on the grid. So you sure going ahead with him is a good plan? Well, let's have a look at the game rules for a second here then. So let's say Max. Let's do a Max and Perez comparison. Verstappen, 10 points. And let's be really mean to Perez and say he gets 5th place. That's a 4-point gap. Then don't worry about the Constructors. There's no sprint this weekend. And then let's say Verstappen gets 25 points. So that's 35 points. And let's say Perez gets 3rd place. So that's 20 points. Times 2 them. And let's keep it simple and say none of them get driver of the day points. And no positions gained because Verstappen would be at the front. Perez would get positions gained. So let's say 22 points to Perez, 35 points to Verstappen. 35 times 7 is 70. Times 7. 35 times 2 is 70. 22 times 2 is 44. That is a 26-point gap. Now, if you dropped down from Ferrari to Visa Cash App, I think it'd be more than a 26-point gap. So that's why I wouldn't bring in Verstappen and go for the Constructors. But yeah, Max does get a lot more than every other driver. But is it enough to overhaul Ferrari as a constructor, I don't think so. That's the thing. Without DRS, Mac would be expandable, but you want... Yes, exactly. I'm taking a massive risk on Perez on DRS. But you got to risk it for the chocolate biscuit. First race of the season. What about Sainz, Alonso? Yes, sorry. Let me get back to the teams. Oh, we've still got plenty of time till the qualifying. Whoo! Martin, quickly. McLaren don't look very good at the minute. That's why. I'll show you the stats again. So even in FP, I'll show you the FP3 and FP2 results. McLaren race simulation, 4th fastest car. Again, very close to Aston Martin on qualifying. And then on practice, I haven't seen Norris do anything good practice. 5th in practice 3, it was all right. But Piastri only 7th. And in practice 2, Piastri 5th. It's just, for what they're valued at, it's not worth it. Right, let me get back to Vivian. Right. Let's get your team up above. Right. Sainz. Alonso. Bottas, K-Mag. And Sarge with Red Bull and Ferrari. Yes. Sorry. Yes, this was the team I was supposed to be, but I just got completely sidetracked. Right, hang on. I need to check something quickly. I need to just check that it's all going well here. Holy God! What the hell? So, sorry that I'm taking a while to get to your comment. I actually have not... I have the chat up, but I haven't been seeing how many people have been watching me. 125 people! What the hell? Thank you all so much for joining. This actually feels like a fever dream. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on live streams, but god damn, thank you so much. But yeah, right, let's get back to the to this team. This team is all right. Again, Alonso looked pretty decent. Main thing, having Red Bull and Ferrari. And again, for this team, you've got to think mathematically. You're dropping from Perez to Sainz, and you're upping Ricciardo to Alonso. And Ricciardo to Alonso, I would say, is a 5-10 points gap. Sainz to Perez, probably like a few points. So definitely not a bad shout at all. I'm just a little bit scared about Alonso because will the McLarens get in the way? And if the McLarens get in the way, then he won't be getting any more points than Ricciardo. That's the only thing to think of when looking at this team. But by all means, definitely a decent shout. Congrats on the channel. Love the content. What was your rank last year? Thank you very much. I was 7.5k. I don't know if it shows my league standing last season. In down here. Does it show my league down here? I don't think it did, but yes, I was in the top 7.5k last season. I think it was like 7,300 I ended off. What about Max Red Bull Aston build? Yes, so I've spoken about this. I really do believe if you're thinking of Aston, drop down to VCarb, because then you can bring in better drivers elsewhere, because VCarb to Aston I don't think is a very big drop, and you save... Well, I'll show you how much you save. You save around 5 million. Yeah, you save 5.1 million. And I don't think Visa Cash App to Aston is a 5 million jump. I'm really new to this, but why is DRS so important here? Right, so DRS is this. So you can see I can remove it here. I can add it. I could even add it to Valtteri Bottas if I wanted to be crazy. Of course I wouldn't. But basically the DRS boost doubles your points. So let's say Verstappen gets 40 points. With the DRS on him, he'll get 80 points. Hope that helps you out. Oh, thank you, George. Thank you for getting to that. Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah, everyone help out everyone. Did you cover a Max Ferrari build? Yes, Max Ferrari Mercedes build. I did. But for anyone who wants to see that again, let's have a look. Right. Yes, no, this was one of my... This is... So you could, theoretically, with the Mercedes, I think we agreed that this, yeah. I think I said I really like the looks of this team. If you were going for a Ferrari, oh, you said Max, my bad. This is a good team for Mercedes and Ferrari in general. But if you wanted Max with these guys, then you just drop to Verstappen and then Ricciardo to 9 million. That's who I would go for. Again, for anyone who's joined late, Bottas, better than the Hasses, better race pace. Again, all of this is in the practice debrief, which you can get to from Bahrain news. I forgot to connect the Ethernet cable. That's why it's a bit off. And practice debrief. And you've also got the practice results all on there. That's the good thing about the F1 official website at the minute. Right. Yeah, 136 watch. It feels insane. 148. Yeah. Yeah. Keep me posted on it because I have to like go onto a different a view to see what's going on. I'm running this team. Okay. Yeah. Nice. McLaren is the worst, overvalued. Yes. Couldn't agree more. I'll also put in my link again. Oh, whoops. For anyone who wants to join my league down there. Sainz, Hamilton, Alonso, Sargent, Bottas, Red Bull, and Kick. Oh, I would steer clear of Kick Sauber. I wouldn't, because basically, if you want to have a cheap constructor, definitely go for VCarb because it's only 1.9 million. You're saving dropping down to Visa. Dropping down to Kick, and I think definitely the VCarb will score a lot more constructor points than Sauber, unless something like happens, like a crash. I've just arrived. What will your final team be? Yes. So this is my final team. I almost changed Ferrari to Mercedes. However, I stuck to my gun. Now, a big team everyone else is looking at. This is the other big team that people are looking at, and I'll show you this. Well, it's basically this, yeah. This is the other big team people are thinking of. So it's basically Verstappen and VCarb or Perez and Ferrari. Now, you also have the option, because you have the money, to bring in Stroll as well. I would say if you have the money just floating around, I would say to go to Stroll. However, if you have to drop down to someone, definitely Stroll to Ricciardo. What about Alonso? What about Alonso, Sainz, Piastri, Albon, Hülkenberg, Aston, and Ferrari? No, I'm. The problem is not having Red Bull as a constructor, because Aston Martin, Max are probably going to get you 40 points as a constructor. Red Bull probably around 70 to 90. So I think it's just too much of a drop to go to Aston, considering then Alonso's a bit of an unknown at the minute because we don't really know where McLaren and Aston are going to be with Mercedes and Ferrari. And I would also change Hülkenberg to Bottas because Hülkenberg's the Haas's qualifying pace looks decent. However, their race pace looks terrible, and in F1 Fantasy, qualifying isn't actually that important. It's all about getting those, especially as a cheaper driver, it's all about getting the overtake bonuses, and you don't want to get overtaken because then you get a -1 point, which is probably what's going to happen to the Haas's if they stay how they are. Lol, I don't know what that's for, but yeah, lol, fair enough. Keep up the good work. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much, man. Oh, I've already seen this. That's why. Yes. Sorry about that. Yeah. I know. For anyone who didn't know, this is the first time that I'm live streaming on this channel. I'm actually using a sort of like setup that isn't my normal setup. This is actually my mate's laptop that I'm going through because it's got a camera. I do actually have a Logitech C922 on the way, which I'll connect to my computer, and it will look much better for the next live stream I do, which will basically be before Saudi Arabia. Yeah, Saudi Arabia. Let's go. Honestly, if you could, I mean, that would be a dream come true. I'm not going to jinx it, but we'll see what. Thank you so much, Lawrence. Thank you. Joe instead of Bottas. I would just realistically go Bottas because he's cheaper, more experienced, and if we have a look around, He's done better in FP2, and did he do better in FP3? I wasn't really looking at Zhou or Bottas. They were quite similar. So actually, it doesn't matter too much, but I would still go for Bottas just because he's cheaper. And I rate Bottas. Right, where did my team go? It's over here. Yes. Just created an account and joined. Thanks for the info. No problem, Mike. Best of luck for F1 Fantasy. It's so much fun, especially this season. It's honestly been incredible. I know it's not even been a single race, but last season, if people who didn't play it last season, it was very much Aston Martin, Red Bull, have Verstappen, have Perez, have Alonso, have Stroll, because Alonso, Stroll and Aston Martin were so cheap, and obviously the second best car at the start of the season at some points. But this season is open for anything. I mean, I think the only team I wouldn't go near is McLaren and Alpine. Everyone else, it's pretty much open. Like, I have pooped on Aston Martin, but still not a bad shout. Mercedes or Ferrari. Who do you choose if you're going for that? Or eat both of them and get rid of Red Bull. There's so much variation this season, and that's why it's so exciting, because you're going to see people. Hey, Harley, how you doing, man? Have you seen how many people are watching me? What the hell's going on? That's my cousin, by the way. Shout out Harley. And Stella, yes. Shout out both my cousins, both in the chat. Yeah. Oh, what guys? It's insane. Think Checo flops, so not fast on Red Bull at the moment. Yeah, fair enough. Because at the end of the day, I think I'll only be disappointed with myself and my team if Perez just does bad or Red Bull does bad. If someone gets, obviously, if there's a crash, there's nothing you can do about that, and it's a shame considering it's so many points deducted. However, so don't feel too bad if there is a crash, because there's so many more races. Like, I can even say last season I started off with Red Bull and Ferrari. I didn't hop on the Aston hype train. Went all the way down to, I think, like not even in the top 300, and then you get your decisions right, boom, top 7.5k. So even if you don't start well, it's only the start of the season, you will get on it very well. You can easily get back on it. Right, Ferrari, Red Bull, or Max in the team. This is the dilemma, isn't it? It's so 50-50. I personally want Ferrari and Red Bull as constructors. That's why I'm going for them here. However, again, I'll show you the team that can happen. So you'd have to drop down to VCarb if you wanted Max, but this is the team that you would have if you had Verstappen. So still not a bad team, definitely not a bad team. However, I think the Ferrari Red Bull team, I think, is just going to top it, but we'll have to wait and find out. That's what's so exciting. I'd go Zhou over Bottas because of all the overtakes. True. Actually, I didn't even think about that, Michael. Even last season, we saw it. The amount of... I actually had the F2 on in the background, and it's frozen. Yeah, anyone, don't forget, F2's on at the minute. What was I doing? Yeah, yeah, true. Last season, Zhou was much better on overtakes, so I can see why you'd want to go Zhou. 173. Oh my god, it's insane. Hello from Algeria. Hello. Hope you enjoy the content. Thank you so much for joining this live stream at the minute. Why not Hulkenberg for Bottas? Yeah, so I've spoken about this, but I'll speak about it again. Basically, it's because I will get up the stats again. Haas looked pretty decent on qualifying. I could easily see them maybe getting into Q2. However, with their race pace, I could also see them finishing dead last. And then you'd just get minus points. And I'll get up the race, I'll get up the game rules for you to try explain what I'm saying about this. So as you can see in qualifying, you don't actually get any points for coming 11th or 20th. So you actually, in F1 Fantasy, kind of want your driver to have the best race pace as possible if he's a cheap driver and not actually do as good in the qualifying. Because then what would happen with Haas is they would get this. Positions lost, -1. they are going to get quite a few of those if they qualify well, because their race pace just isn't there from the stats we're seeing. Or it could be wrong, but we'll see what happens. But that's why I would go for Bottas or Zhou over both the Hasses. Do you think Yuki Tsunoda is the greatest? Yeah, he's the GOAT, mate. He's the GOAT. What is this guy saying? Bloody Harley. What extra chips are you planning on using? So I'm planning on not using any chips this weekend, but I will go over what chips you would probably use. Basically, chips-wise, you want to use them on sprint race weekends because you see these extra points for sprint races. Basically, it's just the maths. So if you put the DRS, 3 times DRS, 3 times DRS or limitless on. So limitless is where you get all the best drivers. You just don't have a price limit. You can put on whoever you want. There are more points up for grabs in a sprint race weekend, which means you want the best drivers because they will get the most points out of that weekend. Same with the 3 times. Say Verstappen on a sprint race weekend could get 50 to 60 points. Then you want to 3 times that. Definitely not on a weekend like this where he could get like 40 points, because then it drops you from 120 points from a potential 180 points on a sprint race weekend, for some context for you. But I don't plan on using any of the chips until halfway through the season. It's best to figure out where everyone is at the minute, wait for the upgrades to come in, and then push it through. What do you think of this team? Leclerc, Perez, Albon, Bottas. Yes, this is another good team I forgot to mention. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. This also is a banger of a team, I tell you what, because it's then you're again increasing Ricciardo to Leclerc, and there's going to be like a 10-20 point gap between those two, and dropping Perez to Verstappen, that's the only issue, is probably like a 10-ish point drop again. So it could be you get identical points. Sorry, let me fill in the rest of the team for anyone who just joined there. It could be identical points-wise, but yeah, those two teams with the V-carbs, the Verstappen team, plus the Charles Leclerc and Perez with V-carb, both very good options. And with that team also, I forgot to mention, I can't get back to it now, you can actually increase Albon to Ricciardo, which is another amazing step for that team. Yes, which you've also mentioned. Yeah. First to F1 Fantasy and need your advice. Thanks for doing all of this. No problem, Kazi. Hope you enjoyed the content. I'm gonna quickly have a look at what we're saying at the minute. Ooh! Okay. 182. I feel like I'm standing in front of a crowd, man. This is insane. Z8. I don't actually know what that is, Samantha. Put in the comments again. I'm gonna put my link to my league again for anyone who's joined. There is also interesting build where you have Aston instead of V-carb. Yes. I've spoken about that as well. The only issue I have with that team is I just don't see the 5.1 million gap jump up to Aston Martin, considering in that scenario, I think the driver takes preference because, again, right, let's say you got Aston Martin here. Like, for instance, with this team, you couldn't actually bring in Verstappen if you had Aston Martin, whereas with V-carb, you could. So that's why I think Aston Martin's just a little bit, you've got to be a little bit cautious, because then if you did want to do that, you'd have to drop someone, for instance, like Albon to Sargent. You'd still need a little bit more money as well. So then you'd have to drop Yuki to Alpine or Albon. And then you would have Verstappen. So I think there's just too much of a drop in the driver, in the drivers themselves, to really want to have Aston Martin as a constructor over V-carb. V-carb triple up looks like a really bad idea. Yes, I forgot to mention that as well. You are risking the fact that if V-carb do have a retirement or do have a crash, you're screwed. That's why it's nice to have a bit of variation as well. Obviously, if Perez crashes out, I'm screwed on Red Bull. That's annoying because that means the Mercedes and Red Bull teams. Also, it's quite interesting because at the end of the day, all of us are going to be scrapping together. So if you've got Mercedes and Ferrari, you're hoping that Red Bull just gets destroyed. If you've got VCARB, you're hoping that Mercedes beat Ferrari. And then so I don't have VCARB, and the issue is I've got both their drivers though, so I want them to do good enough. But not too good enough as well. Maybe slightly behind the Astons as well. Sorry, give me 1 second as well. I need to just put something here. Sorry. Right, yes. Back to business. Where are you on the Ferrari-Mercedes constructor combo? Yeah, so I'm not a big fan of it. But again, I will show you the teams again of what a Ferrari-Mercedes combo would look like. It depends. So, sorry, hang on. Yeah, actually, quickly before I do that, Gapsio, sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. This is my final team. Oh, yes. Yeah, sorry. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Sorry, anyone who's been confused about VCARB. Yeah, Michael, that's the issue I was having. Yeah. Yeah, that is very much the issue I was having. Right, where was I? Yes. So the Mercedes-Ferrari combo. Realistically, again, you could bring in Verstappen and leave the team like that. Now, the issue with this is you're kind of fighting fire with fire because you're hoping Red Bull don't do well, so they have bad constructor. But also, if Verstappen does well, Red Bull will do well, and then all of a sudden, you've kind of shot yourself in the foot. Now, you've also got this team with the Mercedes and Ferrari. I'm not the biggest fan of this team. However, as you can see, it does look quite tasty. It does look tasty on just sitting right there. But I don't know about it. I can't say I would go for this team, but by no means the worst team. I'd say like the third or fourth best team you could probably pick. No, fourth best team you could pick for F1 Fantasy, I think, right now. I would put my team first place. This team with VCARB second place. A very tight second place. That's the issue we're all having. Very tight second place. Joint with this team as joint second and third. Right. Oh, yeah. Oh, South Africa. Yes, my bad. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for watching my videos. Glad you're enjoying them. Bro, Sean, ain't got a clue, mate. Ain't got a Scooby-Doo. Honestly, mate, because I don't have the the YouTube up, so when I looked at it, I thought it was gonna be like, oh, you know, like 20-ish people, because there was quite a few comments. 190 people, mental. Yes. So where was I? First year playing fantasy. What's the point of having 3 teams? Well, you can sort of just global wise, you have all your teams playing, I'm pretty sure. But for me, I use my 3 teams slightly in a different way. So I'll be making a team, 2 other teams just before qualifying. It's more actually just for content wise, because whenever I want to show off Limitless and stuff in my videos, and I've used it, I need other teams to show what I want to do. So that's why I have 3 teams. I'm going to have 3 teams set up. But realistically, yeah, most leagues only let you have 1 team. So there's never much point having 3 teams. So always have your team 1 as your best team, or whatever team you put into the leagues. Let's play around with some experimentation. Oh, hello. Okay, what are you going to experiment with? What's the team? One of the Mercs going to be for sure in the top 5, maybe. Yeah, I think realistically, my predictions for the race will be Verstappen, Perez, Leclerc, Hamilton, Sainz, maybe a McLaren. Hopefully a McLaren will get in there. I don't know if you can see, but I'm wearing my I don't know if you can see this, but yeah, I'm wearing my Norris shirt. But I have no faith in them this weekend. I'm just hoping for a top 10 finish with both of them. Wait, where's the team, Michael? I can't see it. Yeah, it is a it'll be very dangerous not having Red Bull as a constructor. So, is that team worth not having 2 times Max? Well, from my predictions, like I've been saying, I really do think Perez will get a podium. And if Perez just gets a podium, it's worth not having the 2 times on Max. Because I think Ferrari to VCarb is too much of a drop down. Check how many of us are in your league. Yeah, sure, man. Yeah, how many of you have joined up recently? I'll re-put it in the chat as well for anyone new. Whoa! What the hell? Okay, thank you very much. Honestly, I don't know what to say. I don't know if a lot of you on the live stream know this as well, but I'm actually doing a prize pool for this league as well. Yeah, there's a £200 prize pool, and if I'm doing the maths correctly, £75 for the person who wins, £50 for second, £35 for third, £30 for fourth. It goes lower and lower to £200. Yeah. Thank you all so much for joining it. Let me refresh it. Has anyone else joined it? Nah, okay, yeah. Thank you all for joining it. Right, let's see. Tsunoda or Stroll? That's a big jump down in value. I would say Tsunoda purely because I don't know what your team looks like, but if you could improve someone dramatically or a constructor dramatically from dropping from Stroll to Tsunoda, then yes. If there's nothing to worry about, then probably Stroll over Tsunoda because Aston Martin probably have a little bit of a better car. How does your team look? Right, so this is my team. This is the team I am going for, Z Rider. This is the team. Yes. I don't know why I said it 4 times in a row. Right. What about Max? Mercedes, Ferrari, Verstappen, Tsunoda, Albon, Zhou, and Rick. Yeah, so I've spoken about this team before. It's a decent team, but like I was saying, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot because to not go for Red Bull, you're hoping that Red Bull don't do well, and for Red Bull to not do well, it's got to be Verstappen not winning it, innit? And if Verstappen wins it, then Red Bull are just going to have so much more constructor points than everyone else, even if Perez only gets like top 5. So I think it's just a bit too contradictory, that team. I think if you were going for the Mercedes and Ferrari, go balls to the wall, screw Red Bull and hope for the worst on them. And bring in Hamilton and Leclerc over Perez and Albon. Whoops. Thank you, Zach. No problem, man. Yeah, I know. Mate, I'm secretly conspiring. Trust me, what's gonna happen? Yeah, is I'm gonna get all of you here watching this live stream, and then straight after I'm gonna change my team, and then right 5 minutes before the deadline. But no, I'm not gonna do that. I am sticking to my guns. But I'm telling you, everyone, don't worry too much if you don't agree with my pick on here. The Verstappen and VCarb team will be very similar points. I'm genuinely talking maximum 20 points gap between each team, either way. And it could swing either way. And that is talking with no DNFs. There might be a DNF, but you can't really take that into consideration because it's F1. We don't know what's going to happen, today and tomorrow. Yo, figure out how to turn on Super Chats, by the way. Yeah, sure. I'll sort that out for next week. I don't even know what a Super Chat is. I genuinely, if you can't tell, this is my first live stream on YouTube, so yeah, not too sure about how all of it works. How sure are you of Perez? I'm pretty sure. And when I say pretty sure, I know he's going to get top 5. The race pace, let me show you again the race pace of that Red Bull. Like, genuinely, even if, sorry, my hat's coming a little bit. Even if Ferrari and Mercedes both out-qualify Sergio Perez. I just think the race pace is you just got to look at the screen. He will overtake them, and then funnily enough, that will probably be more points for him, because if Perez can qualify 5th or 6th, overtake into 2nd, get driver of the day, you never know, he might actually get more points than Verstappen. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one this week. Thank you, Zach. Thank you so much. 155. Yes, I know, it's insane, Marco, isn't it? Yeah, honestly, you just got to follow me blindly into the darkness, man. Who won last year? El Shemali? No, I felt so. El Shemali went for like a Hail Mary because he was like in the top 100 in the league, like a global league. El Shemali was this guy last season in my league, and he went balls to the wall, got rid of like Verstappen, but it didn't work out for him. I believe he finished like 5th or 6th. So everyone going to have the same team? yeah, honestly. No, hopefully, because I know some of you don't agree with my team. These are the teams everyone's going to have. So it's either going to be this team. This team. These are the 2 big ones that are going to be like everyone's on it. Oh, yeah, sorry. I haven't dropped the code in a while. My bad. If anyone has, thank you very much for doing it. Yeah, this team, the team I'm choosing, or was this the other team? Yeah, this team, or the Mercedes Ferrari options. So there'll be a few differences. Can you edit the chip after applying or recreating the team to do it? Yes. So I can actually show you. So I can make a new team right now. Let's just do it the opposite team that to what I want to do. So Red Bull, Visa Cash App, then Daniel Yuki, Albon, Bottas. Actually, let's go for Stroll. Yeah, so basically, if I continue making that, yep. Zach, F1, 2, sure, why not? So as you can see, if you apply a chip, extra DR, I believe. Let's actually no. Let's experiment now. Let's see if it works. I didn't actually know that. That's news to me. You can't actually use half the chips until later on in the season. Well, second race, yes. So let's say we added the DRS. After applying, you will not be able to change the chip. Yeah, okay. So you can't. That answers your question. No, you cannot. I'm pretty sure with Limitless, you can see who you want to build your team around, but you can't, like, if you apply it, then it's set in stone. You can't change it. USD, no, so the prize pool will be in pounds, because I live in the UK. So actually, if anyone wants to convert that, I don't know what 75 quid is in US dollars, but it's a little bit, it's like $80, $90. It's decent. So what the hell? I gotta run, Zach. Thanks for the stream. Michael, lovely seeing you in here, man. Thanks for all the support, man. Have a good rest of the day. Yeah, cheers, Sean. That'll be useful, actually. Sorry for the spam, dude. Can you edit after applying? Oh yeah, I just responded to that. Yeah, yeah, Morris. I know. Oh my god, I don't know what just happened to the camera. I know. I'm so scared it's gonna happen. Honestly, I could just see the memes already happening. George Russell, arms like this. He's gonna qualify 3rd place, Perez 2nd. Boom, into the first corner, Perez DNF. Imagine tomorrow we got a Verstappen and Perez DNF. Oh, I don't think I'll ever be able to show myself on this YouTube channel again. Honestly. Drop the code, please. Yeah, I just dropped it down there. Which is easier, upgrade VCarb to Ferrari or Perez to Max? I believe it would be. Actually, let's double check. Because I'm pretty sure it would be. So right. So to get from Verstappen, from where we are now, you need all the poopers. So all the bad drivers. You would need 1.7 million. So 1.7 million for the Ferrari team. That's the minimum. And then for the RB team, you would need to drop all of these bad boys down. It should be the same, right? It should be 1.7 million for both of them. Let's just double check. Well, yeah, it's 1.7 million for both of them. Yeah, so you just need 1.7 million. They both need the same amount. I can't remove Max. I've taken out Red Bull for Ferrari. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting team. Again, it's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard watching the race without Red Bull. However, you just got to pray on Perez's downfall like no man's ever done, man. You just got to really hope. I have Verstappen, Ricciardo, Gasly, Albon, Snowden, McLaren. I would remove McLaren for either Mercedes or Mercedes or Ferrari because McLaren don't look too good at the minute. And then I would drop Gasly to one of the Saubers, but that's just my preference because Alpines look bad, but I think we're being over dramatic on how bad I think. And then I think you could. What could you do with the extra money? Increase Ricciardo to Stroll. Max and Red Bull as constructor. Yeah, it's a solid choice. Like I said, it's a close second. I've put it as basically these are the two teams that you could choose. Basically, the best two teams you could. I'm going for this is my team one, but they're so close because, like I was saying as well, the only differences in this team is Stroll and Ricciardo, who are going to get similar points, and Red Bull and Ferrari, which Ferrari will get more points, but then Verstappen and Perez, Verstappen will get more points. So no matter what happens, it's going to be tight. Yes. So why Bottas over Zhou? Bottas qualifies higher and loses places. Yes. Honestly, I think I might change my mind. I remember Michael brought it up as well. I had Zhou last season as well. He did really well for me, actually. So screw it. Why not? I'm hopping on the bandwagon. I will say, though, if you do go for Zhou, you need an extra 1 point. So you need 1.9 to get to Verstappen. No, hang on. Yes. Yeah, you'll need an extra. Will you? Just be careful. Just be careful. Zhou or Bottas? Yeah, it's really hard to... $94. Okay, yeah. There you go. So in £70 converted would be $94. Lops in the chips. Manchester here. Hey, good lad. I actually support Man United, so I don't know if I should have said that. I might get some hate now. First time playing F1 Fantasy. Red Bull times 2 constructors. So you can't times 2 constructors. If I'm getting what you're saying correct there. Max Verstappen, Daniel Ricciardo. Who is AW? Valtteri Bottas. Can't understand people going Ferrari, Mercedes, and Max for double. Can you explain how they think? Yeah, so no, I've said it as for as well. I think you're kind of shooting yourself in your foot because you're hoping that Red Bull don't do well, but at the same time, if you've got Verstappen 2 times, you're hoping that Red Bull do well. So it's a bit contradictory, but it's still not a bad team. I was making my team, and after it, I saw your video and was like, well, damn, it might be a... Yeah, mate, honestly, we're cooking. I'm telling you. Genuinely, if people just go for these 2 teams here, either way, it's going to do well. 150 of you still watching. Thank you so much. Let's see. 457 subs as well. Thank you all so much for subbing. I honestly can't believe this. I came on today thinking, okay, I'm going to get half an hour on it. I'll talk about the teams, maybe have a few comments I'll do, and then leave the video until 4 o'clock. Just completely blown away by how supportive you guys have been. This is ridiculous. Thank you so much. Right, I have this one. First time playing. Oh, right. Yeah, sorry, Finton, could you repeat that message? I'm for the life of me, I can't think who AW is. I'm probably being a donut there. I went for Max, Lance, Ricky, Albon, Bottas, Red Bull, and I'm guessing, yeah, RB, yeah, mate. Honestly, yeah, I put that as the second option here. Very good team there. Where's the chat gone? Drop the code for the link, did I? I like what you did on your team, but you're really sure not to pick Max. I know. I think I'm going crazy. Honestly, I'm risking it. But yeah, I've got the best two teams up on the screen right now for anyone who wants to see them. And yeah, I just don't think for the life of me, if nothing goes wrong, Perez just gets second place. I mean, we're about to find out in 50 minutes. But my God, he's just not going to do that. When's the deadline? Deadline is in 53 minutes. Yeah, so Sean, if you want to join my league, yeah, you got 53 minutes. Well, yeah, 53 minutes to do so. My only difference to your two teams is Ricciardo over Stroll, but may need to follow you on the Stroll play. Yeah, honestly, I'm a bit undecided on the Ricciardo or Stroll. It's mainly because I've got a bit more money to play around with, and Stroll didn't actually look as bad as I thought he'd look in practice. Bahrain might have a lot of DNFs, either due to crashes or engine failure. Is a first race. Do you think it's worth using the no negative chip? Right, no, purely because I fully understand that. It's best to use those chips on races like this. But I think it's just best for races such as, where else are there high crashes? Street races. Honestly, Saudi Arabia next week could be even a decent shout. Anywhere with lots of walls, where if you make a mistake, you're done for. I think those are the best times to use no negative. Where to bet? Well, we actually, hang on, my bad. Let me put in the chat my thing. So this is just the F1 Fantasy League, the official one. Yeah, sorry, mate. There's I've sent the link now. You dropped the link. I need the code. Oh, my bad. Let me send the code as well. Oh, 179. What is going on? Right. Here's the code as well. Also, anyone in the chat, if I mistakenly used my 3 times on Verstappen, didn't know how chips are won. Ah, mate. Honestly, you should still. It's not the best case scenario by all means. But if Verstappen wins this weekend, which most likely he will, then it's not the worst case scenarios. What would your wait? Oh right. I need to scroll back up to see a few teams. Why not Ricky instead of Tsunoda? Oh, it's just because if you want Stroll, you can't afford Ricciardo. That's the only reason. Because I actually do like Tsunoda as an option. But like for instance, oh hang on, I'm waffling. Yeah, what am I talking about? Oh, true. Tsunoda or Ricciardo? Is there a way? How do I do these? Start a poll. Yeah, go on. I want to do one of these. Sorry, I'm gonna have to put my mic down. Let's put a poll down for Ricciardo or Tsunoda, because I think they're going to be pretty tightly matched. I might go for Ricciardo though. Right, let's start poll. Let's see what everyone's thinking for Ricciardo or Tsunoda. Wow, 100%. Oh, okay. What was the code link? Oh yeah, I sent that. How do these fantasy leagues work? Can I join as many? Yeah, you can join as many as you want. You don't have a limit. I believe last season, I haven't seen the global one at the minute, but I'm guessing it starts up when everyone's played. You got like global, where your country, I'm pretty sure you put in like your favorite driver and they put you in that league as well. Yeah, and then to be fair, the way they do the leagues is pretty naff. Because I don't understand why you can't just, I mean, you can search up a league. So Zach F1, yeah, I mean, you can just do that, but I need to also put a what's it called? A banner on it, but I don't know how to do that. So I'll figure that out next week. What would be the third best? Right. I would go Hulk all lifelong instead of the green team. Yeah, honestly, it's just because I just don't think Haas are going to do well in the race and they'll get minus points. So let's say 0 points in qualifying and they qualified 12th. That's actually worst case scenario because then they could end up 18th, minus points for you. Why not Aston over V carb? Purely because I don't think the 5.1 million jump is enough. I've spoken about that quite a bit now, but I'll show you again, because I'm always here to help you guys out, and I really like this. What we saying? Yeah, still averaging around 150. Mental. Is Sainz a good choice? Yeah, he's all right. I think Hamilton and Leclerc are just better, because Hamilton's more consistent, even though he's in that Mercedes. And also Mercedes, by the way, might qualify well today. But I think if Mercedes qualify well today, don't fret, because Ferrari will overtake them on race pace if they don't have bad tyre wear. Right, yeah, sorry. So if you went for Aston, the problem is you can't afford Verstappen with the good drivers. You would have to drop someone like... you would have to drop Yuki. So let me show you. You'd have to drop someone like Yuki to Albon and then Sargent. And I don't think Sargent's not good enough. Last season, he was getting you minuses multiple race weekends. I'm pretty sure by the end of the season, he was basically on break even. He got like no points throughout the season, which is pretty bad considering. But yeah, that's why I wouldn't go Aston, because I think the drop down from Sargent to Sonoda compared to VCarb to Aston is way too much. How will you upgrade to max if need to? Yeah, I'll show you that again. So the way to max, that's what we'll call it. The path to the way of max. Right, to get Maxi Taxi, you will need to get rid of all of these bad boys. That is the issue. So I probably wouldn't bring in Verstappen until I have about 3-4 million up in transfer value. Seems like a lot, but last season I ended with like 120 odd million in the bank. So it does happen, and I know it's because of Aston Martin and McLaren, but I still think in a season where not much could change, you could definitely still get around 110 million by the end of the season. But yeah, this is how you'd do it. So you'd have to get Logan, K-Mag, Bot, and then as you can see, you got 5.5 million. Whoa, hang on. Yes. And yeah, because you need 1.7 million extra, because then you'd need 1.7 million extra for Hulkenberg, which I generally do think will take maximum four races. What would what's the code? Yeah, I sent all of that there. What would your team look like if you didn't get to choose Red Bull? Oh yes. So if Red Bull weren't a factor, this is the team I'd go for, and I'm very much adamant on this team. If you don't want to go for anyone who's Red Bull, this is the team I would go for. No, not Perez. Yeah, this bad boy here is the team I'd go for if you don't want anyone Red Bull. Very high risk, considering Red Bull most likely will double podium and Verstappen win. But if you're feeling a little bit lucky with a little Red Bull clash at the start of the race or something, or double DNF, proper Ferrari style, then yeah, that's the team I'd go for with no Red Bull. So no Pierre over Bottas. Yeah, I just don't think that Alpine's where it needs to be. And you may as well keep Bottas, because we're also not thinking about next weekend. You can only make 1 or 2 changes next weekend. I can't remember if it's stacked, so you can only do 1 and then 2 after Saudi Arabia. So if you had someone like Gasly and you needed a little bit more extra money and you didn't have the Bottas, it'd be very frustrating knowing like, they didn't even score that different they didn't score that much difference in points, and they still, I can't get, like Leclerc or Hamilton or Perez or whoever I'm trying to get in. Danny Rick. Oh yeah, my bad. I completely forgot about the poll. Yeah, 91 votes. 74% of you are saying Danny Rick. All right, I'm hopping on the bandwagon. I mean, it's my second team anyway. But yeah, all my homies love Danny Rick. Boom. Right. Oh, it didn't save it. I don't know why I'm caring so much about this team, because this is my second. Yeah, so bim bam boom. Oh, 45 minutes to go till the deadline. Max, Charles, Hulkenberg, Albon, and Ricciardo. Who? Donaldo, is that how you pronounce your name? Who would you have as constructor with those? Which driver would you pick with 6.9 million left? Honestly, find that 0.1 million and get Albon in. And if you already have Albon, then Then Joe. Yeah. Right. So max no RB means 50 points max with DRS chips. Perez plus RB means you need Perez to only get 12.5 points to match with. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm adamant. If Perez just doesn't screw it up, he just needs to get around the podium, and it's worth having Perez. And I love that we all just hate Perez so much. I think he's gonna get sacked. We're all just so scared of seeing that 2 times on him. Man, I'm not surprised you have 140 plus people. You're enthusiastic and super helpful. Keep up the great work, man. Thank you so much. Honestly, that means so much to me. Yeah, it's honestly feels so surreal. Yeah, my channel has just been massively, the last week's just been blowing up. And I can't thank you guys enough for it. And I'm really happy that you guys enjoy it. Can I go for Ferrari and V-carb? Oh, okay. Well, let's experiment with that. Okay, yeah, okay. I'll experiment with that. Right. So Ferrari and V-carb. I guess you could. Oh, okay. I think this is definitely the team you could get with Ferrari and V-carb. Verstappen. Obviously, you'd then move the DRS to Verstappen. And then you would drop to Bottas. You know what? That's not actually a bad team. I still think it's way too crazy risking not having Red Bull, considering that's like a 60 point probably drop down to RB, 50, 60 points. However, you know what? I didn't even think about that. And if you wanna risk it, I wouldn't say that's a bad team. Definitely not the best team you can get, but not a bad team by no means. Leclerc or Sainz if you're banking on Ferrari. Leclerc. I know Sainz looked better in FP3, but I just trust my boy Leclerc. And also, Leclerc normally does well at Bahrain. Let's have a... Actually, go on then. I need to see some of these. Let's have a look at the Bahrain race results from the last few seasons. So Sainz better in 2023. That's, I'm pretty sure, because, yeah, Leclerc DNF. If he DNF'd, I'd feel so bad. If any of the Ferraris DNF. If Ferrari do what Ferrari do, I'm going to be so pissed off. Right, but in 2022, this is what I wanted, yeah. Leclerc, he wins in Bahrain. 2021, we didn't have Bahrain. No, we did have Bahrain. Where did Leclerc come? Okay, yeah. I was trying to get Leclerc. I was trying to get up the stuff to see that Leclerc was better, but Sainz actually looks more consistent. But yeah, I don't think it's that much of a gap, but I do think Leclerc will beat Sainz this weekend. Is it worth having Perez even if hypothetically he doesn't win the race, for example, the first 5 races? Yeah, because I think Perez is dropped so low. If he just comes top 3, top 4, he will increase in transfer value. And I think at this point of the season, it doesn't even matter too much where you are in the standings. You just want to increase your driver values and get on the drivers that are increasing by 0.3, 0.5 mil or constructors, because then at the halfway point of the season, like I can even tell you guys this from last season. So from last season, I actually was around top 150k halfway through the season because I was getting my teams changed up. I just moved to McLaren and they still weren't much better than Aston. But because I made the swap there and took a hit earlier on in the season to make sure that getting my value up in my team was the priority, by the end of the season I was top 7.5k because, like I said, I had 120 million by the end. So it very much is, you've got to hop on it and make sure that team value is going up. You don't want to see anyone dropping in value. That's why it's scary to pick someone like Haas. And that's the main thing for the start of the season. Why not Hamilton or Leclerc over Perez? Yes, so all 3 of them, it's purely, again, I'll get up the race pace. That's not the race pace. Where's the race pace? Here. That's purely because I don't think Ferrari have the qualifying pace. I think they're going to qualify 4th to 6th. And then in the race, they'll get up to the podium positions. However, if Perez qualifies around 4th to 6th, he's got so much more race pace that he will just straight away get into the podium positions because that Red Bull just looks rapid. And don't think too much about practice. Red Bull definitely sandbagging, like Mercedes used to. Well, like Mercedes wish they could still. Bottas has performed better than Zhou. Yeah, it's just the way F1 Fantasy works with cheaper drivers. You don't even need to look at how well they're performing sometimes. You actually just want to see how many overtakes they're doing, where they qualify. Because actually a bad qualifier like Zhou is better to have because then he'll get race overtake points and there's less room to get a minus point because I'll show you the game rules again. If you don't come top 10 in F1 Fantasy qualifying, you don't get any points. So theoretically, 11th in F1 Fantasy is the worst place to qualify. Yeah, McLaren, bad choice, definitely. You want to be careful on McLaren purely because what are they? 23 million, 23.2 million as a constructor. 23.2 million as a constructor, way too expensive when Ferrari is almost 4 million cheaper. Yeah, 3.9 million cheaper, and Mercedes is 3.1. And then Lando, I don't know how. I love Lando. I love Piastri as well. I wish that McLaren were worth that price. I really do. But they're not. And it just would be a little bit... it wouldn't be the best option to bring in McLaren, definitely. Gasly, Zhou, or Bottas, I would go for Zhou. How would you build your teams if you had no transfers? What? So, like, I'm guessing you mean for, like, the rest of the season. Genuinely, if I couldn't change anyone for the rest of the season, I don't know. I would probably, I think I'd go for the Verstappen team if I couldn't change anything, because having Verstappen is so important. I just think I can get away with it for the first few races, and hope that Ferrari is the second best team while we get more driver value increases. Is the Perez team your number one team? The team you think you'll do best? Yes, that's my team number one. So team 1, team 2 is how I think they will be, basically. First time F1 Fantasy this year. Does Constructors get as much points as the drivers? No, Constructors get a lot more than the drivers. That's the issue we all have. So 2 times lets the driver get as much as a constructor. Like Verstappen probably will get around 70 to 80 points this weekend. Same as Red Bull. However, let me just show you. I'm pretty sure I can show it quite nicely. So the Constructors here, both reaching Q3, 10 points just alone for that. And then, basically, Constructors get a combined points of, that's for the sprint race, but it's the same thing here. Constructors will score the combined total of their 2 drivers in the race listed below, with the exception of driver of the day. So, Red Bull also very good at pit stops. We haven't mentioned that. Pit stops, we know how good Red Bull are, so I could see them doing really well. But then race place, Verstappen 25 points plus Perez with 12 points. Let's say he gets first. That's 37 points already, plus the 10 points for getting both in qualifying. That's 47. Plus, let's say they get fastest pit stop, 57. And that's not even getting in their positions gained and stuff. We're talking in the 60s or 70s. So that's how it can really build up as a constructor. Because you just combine both the drivers' scores. You kind of look like Checo though. Really? I mean, he's a handsome man, so I'll take that. But I can't see it. I think the main thing is I'm genuinely as pale as it gets. That's the issue. Literally, I sunburn so bad. It's terrible. It's that bad. I sometimes sunburn when it's sunny in the winter in the UK. Yeah, yeah, it's not the best. Yeah, sorry, I went on a proper tangent there. What are your predictions for the race, P1 to P5? So my predictions are Perez, no, Verstappen, Perez, Leclerc, Hamilton, Sainz. Isn't a max DRS plus Perez better than Red Bull as a constructor? No, because Perez will only get you around 30 odd points maximum without 2 times, and Red Bull as a constructor will get you around, like I said, 60 to 80, potentially even more. Why can't we have our big boy Alonso in our team? I know, I wish I could. I wish I could fit in big boy Alonso. Actually, you know what? I will show you a great team that you could choose if you wanted your boy Alonso. And that is where you bring in this little lone geezer called Carlos Sainz. And then you take out Yuki. I know, it kills me. Wait, do you take out Yuki? Yeah, you do. You take out all of these boys. Yeah. So this would be the team if you wanted Alonso. It's not the best team, but if you love Alonso, go for it, honestly. Who doesn't love Alonso, though? He's the GOAT. How about Zhou, Ricciardo out and Stroll, Magnussen in? I don't have faith in Haas with the way that F1 Fantasy points work. And Stroll, I think he's going to get similar points to Ricciardo, so I think that's okay. Would you rather choose 2 top constructors or 2 top drivers? 2 top constructors every day of the week. And why? Purely because, realistically, why not Gasly instead of Bottas? Sorry, I'll get back to you, Vicky. It's mainly because I don't trust the Alpines. I mean, it's a 50-50, and I've also said you've also got to think when you bring in Gasly and stuff, what you're doing with your team for later weeks, because you don't have as many transfers this season as you did last season. So if you're wasting a transfer dropping down from Gasly to a Sauber because you need a little bit more points, a little bit more value, then it could be an issue. That's the only reason I'm thinking about Alpine. And then, yes, so basically, top 2 constructors-wise, it's basically what I went through earlier, where constructors, it gets both the drivers' combined points and puts them together. Whereas getting 2 top drivers, let's say you had Verstappen and Perez in your team. If you simulated it, that's probably the best 2 guys you could have in your team, right? If Perez pulled up his pants. However, Verstappen 2 times, let's be really generous and say 45 points, 90 points, plus Perez with 35 points, again being generous. That's like 125 points. And that's being very generous. Red Bull, let's say 75 points. And then Ferrari around 50 points, being... that's sort of where they could be. If I get my maths right, 125 as well. And that's with me being generous to the drivers and low on the constructors. So that's why I would rather pick 2 big constructors over 2 big drivers. And also, you've got to take into the fact, if you bring in Verstappen and Perez, what's happening with your other drivers? Or if 2 big drivers, because then you can't have Ricciardo, Yuki, Albon. You'd probably have like Hulkenberg, Magnussen, and they're not getting you as many points as well. What's your justification for Ferrari, Red Bull, constructors over having more expensive drivers? Also from a view of increasing the value of your teams over the season. So I sort of actually spoke about that justification in the last question. And also from a view of increasing, yes, that's the issue. If VCARB do well, they will get you more points, driver points. However, I genuinely think the VCARB team and the Ferrari team will move quite equally in the driver transfers, because Perez will go up in more value than Verstappen, purely because Verstappen just is so expensive. Even if he did so amazing, he would only go up 0.1 million. Ferrari 0.2, 0.3, RB potentially 0.5 million. So I think they counteract each other. If Perez finished 5th, is it going to be a big problem? No. If Perez finished 5th, it would mean that Team 2 here would have been the better option, but not by a lot, by 10, 20 points, which in F1 Fantasy terms isn't too bad. Which is why I want to use the Perez team. Because surely, I'm not going to jinx it, but surely a certain someone in that certain second Red Bull seat can't finish lower than top 5. If you get first place in the Global League, do you get tickets for the next race season? I will show you what you can win, yeah. Here you go. So you get Paddock Club for 2025 to a 2025 Grand Prix, 2 times Champion Club. I don't actually know what the Champions Club is. And £500 Authentics vouchers. First and second, pretty cool. Even third, it's all right. It's pretty chill. Hopefully one of us can win it. I would love to. But considering how expensive F1 races are, I can't remember the last time. The last F1 race I went to is, if you guys can read that, it was quite a while ago in Austin. Circuit of Americas. Very good race. It was Jenson Button's final season. And if you guys don't know, Jenson Button is and always will be my favourite F1 driver of all time. Been watching him since 2008. Well, since I was 5. And yeah, obviously saw the Brawn when I was 6. And then that's why I support McLaren now, because 2010 to 2013, 2010 till we retired, I was supporting Button at McLaren and just stayed there. Right, sorry for the tangent. Yes, you did read that there. Yes, I know Perez won't score as much, but Max could score twice as much, right? But a team with Red Bull as a constructor and Perez with 2 times, that would be less. It just depends how bad Perez does. Because even if Perez did half the points Verstappen did, which would have to be Perez not coming in the top 5, by the way, which is going to be difficult already, you would still only be 10, 20 points down, and I think that's why I'm going to risk it. Any race of your choice for next season is what you get. Yeah. It's pretty cool. I would like to win it. But, you know, it is what it is. João Bottas, yeah, I think you guys have turned me around on that. Let's actually do another poll quickly. I'm going to do one more poll, answer a few more questions, and then I will end the live for now. So let's do João versus Bottas in the chat. Here you guys are. Get at it. Let's see what everyone's saying. Oh, hello. Oh, it pins the chat there. Right, I'm just checking on everything on here is all good. It looks so weird being able to see me live like 15 seconds earlier. Right, oh, okay. A lot for Bottas. Really? I thought there'll be more for Joe. Okay. Oh, I didn't see that. Hamilton or Leclerc at 2 times DRS boost. I would go for Leclerc if you were doing 2 times on one of them. Because, like I've said, qualifying doesn't matter as much. And Leclerc... Oh, I forgot to mention this, by the way. If Perez qualifies 20th, that actually works out better for all of us Perez geezers. Because he'll get so many overtake bonuses. Then getting into the top 10, the race positions... that's the worst thing about it's good and bad about F1 Fantasy. You want the drivers to do bad in qualifying unless they come first. Unless they come in the top 3, you want them to do bad in qualifying. Which is a bit scuffed, but it's just the way the cookie crumbles. I've actually spoken about this in my F1 Fantasy changes videos. But we'll see what happens. Oh my god, wow, it's getting close, by the way. 45 votes in. Bottas and Joe basically 50-50 at the minute. I'll leave it till we get to 50 votes. I don't know how many people are still in the stream. 132 people, yeah, Fez. We'll give it at 50. Yeah, I think Bottas wins that. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, Bottas is the one people are going for. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I left it on the screen. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I will be doing this live every weekend of a race before qualifying. I also put out earlier in the week what I think the best teams are in a video format. I also talk about this on Twitter, and I've also got a Discord. But yeah, okay, that shouldn't have made me laugh so much. But ass. I mean, he does have his Bottas calendar, innit? Not gonna lie, it might sound weird, but I gotta buy it purely because I mean I've tried his gin. For anyone over 18 or I don't know drinking ages in other countries, for anyone who can buy the Bottas gin, highly recommend it. It's quite expensive, so it's like a one-off thing. It's like 30 quid for half a litre. But yeah, I'm going off on a tangent. Thank you all so much for watching. Yes, thank you, Isaac, so much, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, it genuinely means so much to me. Thank you guys all for the support. But yeah, I'll see you all later, hopefully, on my channel for another F1 video. So I'll see you next week with the live as well. Thank you very much, and hopefully qualifying goes well for you guys. Oh, and if you want any more updates, it will be on Twitter.